Now, the rest of the story.
Well, thanks, Paul. So I usually do a video like this, I think at least every year or pretty close to it, where you guys get a ride along in the grain wagon as I'm heading back to Rockville. The one thing that's different this year is, to the best of my memory, this is the first time I've ever used the 82 for hauling this gravity wagon back to the main farm. So, well, quick thing here. All these trees out in this first cow pasture, I think, need to be met with a dozer. Well, that's just my offhanded opinion as I see that. The 82, as everyone would know, pulling a fully loaded easy trail wagon with 500 bushels topped out like this thing was, it's 500 bushels. It's like 498 when I took it across the scales, and if that's as close as I get to 500, we're going to call it 500. And with the weight, the power, the air ride seat, and, well, a general can-do attitude, actually sped up getting this corn hauled up to the main farm rather quickly. I know, let's just go right ahead and say it does make sense to use a semi and everything, but we're not set up because that semi's trailer is a commodity trailer, and it doesn't have the clearance to have the swing auger swing out from underneath it. And an oversight in putting the bins in, if the ground was soft at all, the only way to get into those bins is through a bean field, and then we run the risk of not even being able to get to the bin to unload with the semi, or we just flat out get stuck trying to get back out. So this takes 2 days. I mean, the combine isn't the bottleneck. The grain cart isn't really a bottleneck. I know the combine has the ability to go super duper fast and run like 3 or 4 miles an hour, and I can 10 or 20,000 bushels a day. I get it. I'm not complaining about that whatsoever. But also, where we are, I'd rather match the speed of the grain as it's leaving the combine. So the combine is able to take its time, slow the head down, because the stuff got dry after this heat stretch we had, and going down the driveway, you don't even feel this wagon either. Okay, maybe a little bit. But the stuff is dry to where we're trying to reduce head shelling, and overall, harvest is going fairly quick. I mean, we got my parents done all their corn in short order. We got Ryan done fairly quick. Beans were all right. I mean, it was probably the first time I've ever enjoyed combining soybeans. And with the 82, pulling this wagon up, I think we filled a bin a day. Pretty close to it. We got all of my parents' corn that was left to harvest in the bins. So hauling out that first farm was kind of a blessing in disguise, because we went through and hauled all that out. It gave us enough bin space that we could dump the rest of it into the bins. And the corn that we put in, dried down, hauled out was obviously wetter than the corn that we're harvesting now at like 16.5, 17%. The stuff that we put back in and filled the bins was drier than the stuff we hauled out initially. So we were actually able to dump it directly into the storage bin and just put air on it, and it did keep it, cooled it down because we got that controller in it. I can see that it's all down to 27 degrees, and walking across it, it's not crusted or anything. So it's basically like flying by the seat of your pants. You're making up the rules as we go. I mean, the rules are constantly changing, it seems. Seems like there's a light on the fender I gotta adjust too. So this tractor doesn't have like the HID lights or LED lights on it. That's my intentions, but even with the lights it does have on it from the factory, it is a really nice light package on it. You can really see around you. And even, I think it's probably because the corn is drier. It's heavier because you're not hauling as much moisture, if that makes any sense at all. Not having to shift down quite so much coming up that hill you just saw me get to the top of was probably the big indicator as to why this one was so much better than the 76, because I was losing 2 gears coming up that hill as opposed to the 82 where I dropped down to maybe 22 miles an hour. Otherwise it was 26 the whole way, which was great, and I had a lot of control over this wagon. As far as these wagons go, we only have the one. We have a smaller M&W that is essentially a feed wagon. It's like maybe 350 bushels, maybe, but the frame and the tires and everything underneath it maybe aren't as solid as I'd like to see, especially for how much roading we're doing. I mean, it's got the narrow tires on it too, but it does work really nice for a portable feed bin. Ryan's had oats in it for a while now, and that's probably what we're going to keep using it for, because Ryan likes having oats around. I want to try to get some oats acquired too. I like oats, but never enough to where I'm going to be willing to combine them myself. I'll buy them. I'll buy them every time. I'll pay the premium. I don't care. I'm kind of thinking that too, either fill my feed bin full of oats that's up the farm, or I actually may, I'm not like about to go do it tomorrow, but I am really considering putting in a bigger feed bin, you know, like 3 or 4 tons, you know, something like that, and then have a little bit more feed readily available for my feeders, because we have been talking about, like, how do we want to raise our calves, how do we want to finish our calves out. Ryan likes putting them on full feed, putting them on stuffers, and he keeps his for months. Dad keeps his for months, like 4 to 5 months after we wean them. Myself, granted, doing a split herd like I am at the moment makes it a little bit more challenging. I guess we'll see as we go forward here, but I'm still sticking to my statement of, if I could get everything calved out when I want them to. I should have shifted down a little sooner. Wean them, bucket feed them for 60 days. That's all the grain I want to put in my calves. 60 days, get them bunk broke, get them tamed down, get them weaned off mom, and sell them. Try to coordinate with one of the sales up in town and go that route. Same thing with that lot right there. It's empty. We put the bulls in it, but the cow numbers are really starting to fluctuate. I think we all kept all of our heifers back this year, and depending on how my fall goes, I actually am kind of tempted, try not to think about it too much, because then I'll be committed to it. I wouldn't mind going and buying a few red heifers and just adding that to my cow herd just to get my numbers back up. Not back up because they haven't been there ever, but I mean, I'm looking for like a minimum of like 30 feeders to sell every year. And I got the hay and everything. I can do a lot of that with the pasture, and the pasture I have available, I have available, plus the barnyards. I got the barn lot down at my place and the barn lots up at the home farm. I had made over 700 bales of hay, actually closer to 800 bales of hay this year, so I think I can make it work. I'm out of video. The next video is me unloading this corn, so talk to you guys later. Bye.